Okay, picture this. You've got a blueprint for an entire city. I mean, every single detail, from the tallest skyscraper right down to the tiniest screw. Now, what if I told you that city is you? That's what we're diving into today, the blueprint of life. And we're not just talking about reading it anymore. We're talking about how we've learned to pick up the pen and start making edits.
I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. Everything that makes you, you, your eye color, how tall you are, even the way your body ticks a cold, it's all written in a language that only has 4 letters. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But it's the fundamental reality of biology. So let's take a little journey inside and see how it all works.
So where is this amazing code hiding? We're going to do what I like to call a cosmic zoom in. We'll start with a person and just keep diving deeper and deeper until we hit the fundamental building blocks of life. Our first stop, your cells. You know, life is organized in these beautiful, intricate layers. You, as a whole organism, are made up of systems, like your circulatory system. Those systems are built from organs, like your heart. The heart is made of tissues, and all those tissues are ultimately made from one thing: trillions and trillions of tiny individual cells. The cell is really where all the magic happens. It's both the brick and the builder. Each and every one is like its own tiny, self-contained city that runs all the essential processes of life. Breathing, talking, making energy, it all starts right here, at the cellular level. So if a cell is a city, it's a super busy one. It's filled with all this specialized machinery, think factories, power plants, and communication hubs. We call these little structures organelles, and each one has a very specific job to do to keep the whole operation running smoothly. Let's meet a few of the key players. Look at this incredible division of labor. You've got the mitochondria, famously known as the powerhouse, just churning out energy. Then you have the ribosomes. They're the protein factories, building all the essential machines the cell needs. The Golgi body is kind of like the post office, packaging things up and shipping them out. And watching over this whole enterprise, that's the nucleus, the brain of the operation. Now, the nucleus isn't just some manager's office. It's more like a fortress. Its #1 job is to protect the single most valuable asset the cell has, that master blueprint for the entire organism. This is where the instruction manual is kept under some serious lock and key. All right, so we've zoomed in from the whole organism to a single cell to the nucleus inside that cell. Now it's time to crack open that vault and take a look at the instruction manual itself, the one and only DNA. But that blueprint isn't just one gigantic, messy scroll. No way. To fit all that information inside the tiny nucleus, it's organized brilliantly. The DNA is wound up super tight into these structures we call chromosomes. A good way to think about it is this: your entire genome is a library, the chromosomes are the books on the shelves, and the DNA is the actual text written on every single page. And there it is, probably the most famous icon in all of modern biology, the double helix. It looks just like a twisted ladder. The 2 long railings are for support, they're the backbone. But the rungs of the ladder, that's where the action is. That's where all the genetic information is actually stored. And here it is, the entire alphabet of life. Just 4 chemical letters, A, T, C, and G. Every living thing on Earth is written in this simple code. Now, these letters have a strict buddy system. A always pairs with T, and C always pairs with G. But the real secret, the thing that makes you uniquely you, is the specific sequence of billions of these letters. Okay, so we've got this code, and it's stored safely away in the nucleus. But, you know, a book sitting in the library doesn't actually build a city, right? The information has to get out and be put to work. So now it's time to see how the cell actually cracks the code and turns that blueprint into real action.
This right here is one of the most fundamental rules in all of biology. It's called the central dogma. And it's pretty simple. Information flows in one direction. It goes from the master blueprint, the DNA, to a temporary messenger, that's RNA, which is then used to build the final functional product, a protein.
Let's use another analogy. Think of DNA as the master blueprint, kept super safe back in the main office. RNA is like the working photocopy you take out to the construction site. And the protein? That's the actual machine or the structure that you build using that photocopy. Makes sense, right? The whole process happens in 2 main steps. First up is transcription. This is where that photocopy, which we call messenger RNA, or mRNA for short, is made right inside the nucleus. Then comes translation. The mRNA leaves the nucleus, finds one of those protein factories, a ribosome, and the ribosome reads the message, building the protein piece by piece, amino acid by amino acid.
Now check out the key differences between the master blueprint and the working copy. DNA is double-stranded and built for stability, which is perfect for long-term storage, right? RNA, on the other hand, is single-stranded and a lot less stable. It's designed to be a temporary message that just gets the job done and then breaks down. It even uses a slightly different letter, a U instead of a T.
For pretty much all of human history, this code was a complete and utter mystery. But that all changed with the Human Genome Project. This was a massive 13-year international effort to read all 3 billion letters of our human instruction manual. And the result? It was just astonishing. It showed us that all humans, everywhere on the planet, are 99.9% genetically identical. So we figured out how to read the code. But that, of course, opened up an even bigger, more profound question. If we can read the book of life, could we also become its authors? This is where modern biotechnology really enters the picture. And this is the question that has been driving science for the last few decades. I mean, it's one thing to be able to read a faulty gene and diagnose a genetic disease. It's another thing entirely to even think about going in and correcting it. One of the first huge breakthroughs was something called recombinant DNA. This was basically the original cut-and-paste tool for genetics. Scientists figured out how to take a useful gene, like the human gene for making insulin, and literally paste it into bacteria. The bacteria then acted like tiny little factories, churning out human insulin for us. It was incredible. Next up was PCR, which is basically a molecular photocopier. This was a revolution because so often, scientists only have a tiny trace of DNA to work with, like from a single hair at a crime scene. PCR can take that one little strand and just amplify it into millions of copies, giving them plenty of material to actually analyze. Now, cut, paste, and copy are powerful tools, for sure, but they're also a little clumsy. The real holy grail was always something more precise. What if you could find a single typo in a book that's 3 billion letters long and fix just that one letter without messing up anything else? And that is exactly what CRISPR-Cas9 does. It is a true game changer. It has 2 parts. You've got a guide RNA that acts like a biological GPS, finding the exact DNA sequence you want to edit. And then there's an enzyme called Cas9, which is basically a pair of molecular scissors. Once the GPS finds the spot, snip, the scissors make a clean cut. This lets us delete, repair, or even replace genes with unbelievable accuracy. So we've come full circle, from first discovering the cell to reading the entire human genome to now literally holding the pen that can rewrite it. This technology could cure diseases we once thought were a life sentence. But it also brings up some really deep ethical questions. We now hold the pen to life's code. The question for all of us is, what story are we going to write?